You arrived yesterday, so you're seeing this extraordinary story with fresh eyes. What is the most kind of searing image that you came across today?
Well, we've been talking in the last few days about the food and water that they need to get out to the people, and of course that has to go out as fast as they can, because we've seen families today living in pretty precarious positions. Imagine what it must have been like lying around all these twisted buildings when the ground shook. 6.1 in magnitude. It shook me out of my bed, but it wasn't necessarily the shake, it was the sound of terror and screams in the neighborhood. This is a deeply traumatized community, and today has just been ever more painful given what they've been through yet again. Talk about food. There is some food in the markets, but the prices are going up. It's scarce, and people are having to eat rotten food. We saw people eating rotten potatoes today. They had one tin of fish between 4 people. And water to wash. They haven't washed in 7 or 8 days. People are washing in streams, broken pipes, waters that is flowing down the hillside, and of course that brings with it, given that it's running through areas full of dead bodies, the risk of disease, things like typhoid, cholera and dysentery, although the biggest killer at the moment is most certainly gangrene, because a lot of these injuries aren't being dealt with. But I'll leave you with just one image that really struck me today. These are not just poor people that have been displaced from the hillsides, Matt. It's business people and middle classes as well. And I passed one tented camp today with a suit hanging on the washing line, which tells you that there's a lot of people in a very desperate situation.
Indeed, Christian, the earthquake is a great social equalizer. Saviors from a tragedy or human traffickers? That is the question being asked tonight in Haiti. About 10 Americans were being held after trying to bust 33 Haitian children out of the country. The members of a Baptist charity group insist that they were simply trying to help young victims of the earthquake. But Haitian officials claim that the group knew that what they were doing was wrong, illegal, as many of the children aren't orphans at all. The BBC's Paul Adams reports from Port-au-Prince.
Uprooted and bewildered, 33 young Haitians at the centre of a row about the wisdom and the ethics of removing children from this devastated place. These mobile phone pictures show members of the Baptist group in jail in Port-au-Prince. Their fate is unclear. They could be put on trial here or be sent home to face prosecution in the US. They vigorously deny allegations of abduction, but don't appear to have any reliable documentation.
I believe we've been wrongly accused of something. I believe it's even trafficking, which is completely not the truth. We're waiting for them to basically determine the truth here, because we came here simply to help these children.
But for days there have been rumours of child abduction. Yesterday the Haitian Prime Minister took a dim view.
No, for me it's not Americans that were arrested, it was kidnappers that was arrested.
In some of the makeshift camps that have sprung up across the city, efforts are being made to look after some of the earthquake's most defenceless victims. Save the Children calls this a child-friendly space. In a tent on a dusty football pitch, it's supervised and safe. These people come into schools and churches, says William, asking if we want to give up our children. But we're a nation. You don't just come here and take our kids.
In a city still full of such confusion and hardship, a place like this provides a little oasis of normality, a chance to learn and play. No one's coming to take these little ones away, but right across this city there are still tens of thousands of vulnerable children. There were already 380,000 children in orphanages before the quake, but aid agencies are horrified at the thought that foreigners, however well-intentioned, are trying to take other children away.
The difficulty is, of course, it's a natural impulse to come and swoop in and help vulnerable children. You're seeing on the news there's devastation. It is indeed a really dire situation. But no matter how horrific it looks for concerned outsiders, when you come in and scoop up vulnerable children, you have no idea who you're scooping.
The 33 children at the heart of this story are now in government hands. The authorities say they've tightened border controls to stop this happening again. Paul Adams, BBC News, Port-au-Prince.
For more on the delicate issues that this incident exposes, I spoke with Anne Veneman. She's Executive Director of UNICEF, and she joined us from UN headquarters in New York. Anne Veneman, great to have you on the programme. Can you give us some idea in numbers of how serious the orphan crisis is in Haiti today?
Well, it's very difficult to have precise numbers. We know that there were about 600 orphanages in Haiti, about 300 of which estimated were in Port-au-Prince.
So how does the process of adoption now work? I mean, we know that the government has said that those adoptions that were already being processed will just carry on, But what about all those other kids now? What is the best and most efficient and fair way of dealing with them?
Well, these children have to be identified. It has to be determined whether or not they have parents or close relatives in the country, to determine whether or not they're eligible for adoption.
A lot of assumptions have been made about these recent stories. Do you really think that there are people out there so evil that they want to take advantage of these children in that country in this particular situation?
Well, we know from other disaster situations that one of the things you do need to be careful about is child trafficking. There are people who will take children out of a country.
So there are precedents for this?
There are precedents, and one of the things that children's organizations like UNICEF consistently do after disasters, including the tsunami, the Pakistan earthquake, is to work with government authorities to ensure that children are not taken out of the country, to ensure that they are put in safe places, identified, and then the process of looking for close relatives will continue on.
Beyond the problem of orphans and Veneman, I mean, Haiti's population was always extraordinarily young. There are a lot of young kids, basically, that were lacking in education, that were lacking in resources, lacking in a kind of viable future. How much more serious is that problem now, thanks to the earthquake, and what can be done about it?
Well, obviously the schools in Port-au-Prince are still closed, but in Haiti, before the earthquake, only 50% of the children of school age were going to school. Now this is, an extraordinarily low percentage for any country in the world. So I think one of the things that has to be focused on in building Haiti back, in recovering from this earthquake, and in creating opportunities for the people of Haiti, is to make sure that the education system is stronger, that it provides, education for all the children, and that children have the opportunity to get an education so that they have the opportunity for a future.
So this crisis, in one word, could be an opportunity?
Absolutely. I think it's an opportunity to provide more investment, more jobs, more education for children, more protection for children, more health care for children. All of these are critical for the future of the people of Haiti.
Okay, Anne Veneman, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Now then, it's a sign that the aftermath of chaos and confusion in Haiti has partially abated, that we can focus on a story that has occupied much of the world's media in recent days. The case of the 10 American missionaries arrested for trying to leave the country with a busload of children in the name of charity. They were questioned by a judge today, and the Haitian authorities are still deciding whether to file charges against the group who continue to profess their innocence from behind bars. Our correspondent Paul Adams is in Port-au-Prince.
Another day of negotiations and uncertainty as this delicate situation is slowly resolved. The 10 American missionaries are still being held here, protesting their innocence. A glimpse of the group yesterday after questioning by a judge who must now decide whether to press charges.
We're waiting to know. All we know is that God is going to bring this to a positive closure, and we're just waiting for that answer.
Is there an apology to be made by you to this government?
No, we're meeting with the government officials and talking with them. Everything is going very well.
The 33 children were brought back from the border on Sunday. They're being looked after by a local charity and have yet to be reunited with their parents. The city is full of orphans and rumours. Babies disappearing from hospitals, foreigners looking for children. It's hard to separate fact from fear.
You are talking to me as if there is no traffic of children. You are talking to me as if there is no people trafficking organs of children. I'm conscious that in some cases there is people crossing borders and we don't arrest everybody. So that exists, they arrest them, they have to face the justice.
The director of this orphanage was contacted by the American missionaries, but was suspicious.
We're very cautious about anything that could even appear like trafficking, child trafficking, and it just smelled like child trafficking to me.
21 of the children at the center of this dispute are from a single village 2 hours' drive from the capital. The children were not abducted. They were all handed over by their impoverished parents. They're not kidnappers, this woman says. We wanted our kids to go. Gesna Gefra gave up her only child, a 10-year-old daughter. The missionaries said they would bring her back when she was older.
Well, Paul joins us now from the Haitian capital, Port-au-Prince. Paul, I know you've been dealing with this particular case all day long, and I guess related to that is who's actually in charge? I mean, are there judges in charge? Are there police now on the ground? When I was there a few weeks ago, you really had a sense of the collapse of all the institutions in Haiti. Has that now changed?
Well, you know, I think in a way this whole story, which, as you say, has absolutely dominated the attention of the networks for the last couple of days, this whole story does really point to the inability, perhaps, of the Haitian government to get a grip. It's a test of the Haitian government. The Prime Minister said it himself today. He said, look, if the courts decide that we can move ahead and prosecute these people and manage a trial properly here in Haiti, then maybe that's the way it should go. If we can't, then I, the Prime Minister, will have to look at other ways of resolving this affair. My guess, frankly, is that he will let the courts will decide that it is better to let the Americans go, perhaps with some kind of apology. But you're right, across the system, you have this palpable sense of a government completely unable to get a grip on the situation here. Let's not forget that this is a long history. Haitians have, for years, mistrusted their government. Their government has been invisible in many crucial regards, and the international community hasn't just been in charge of keeping people alive in the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's been doing it for years. So you have a situation in which the international community is more and more visible on the streets and in every conceivable walk of life. The government is even less visible. Its institutions have been destroyed. Its ministers are less visible. Yeah. The Prime Minister, incidentally, was called to the Senate today to explain the government's response to the crisis. But at the moment, frankly, as far as the public is concerned, the government is more or less invisible.
And Paul, briefly, is there now a real sense of security on the streets of Port-au-Prince?
Well, there were some demonstrations today up in Pétionville on the hills on the edge of the city, people accusing government officials of taking bribes in return for coupons, rations, and we've heard other episodes here and there. There was a small demonstration outside the government offices just yesterday, people accusing the government of failing to pay pensions. So these are popping up here and there throughout the city all the time, and an aid convoy was briefly attacked, though no one was injured in that. At the moment, though, I think it's still true that the security situation in general is pretty good, barring a handful of sometimes slightly ugly episodes.
Got to leave it there. Paul Adams, our correspondent in Port-au-Prince, thanks very much.
There are millions of people in Haiti still in need of daily aid more than 3 weeks after that devastating quake. Today, former President Clinton returned to Port-au-Prince to assess the status of relief and reconstruction efforts and promised he will continue to work to remove obstacles to help getting through. Mr. Clinton has long worked on behalf of Haiti and its people, and this week he was officially designated by the UN Secretary-General as coordinator of international earthquake assistance. Well, for weeks now, we have witnessed medics from across the world helping people injured in the Haiti quake. Among them, John Lovejoy III and his father. They're both orthopedic surgeons. The father works on adults, the son on children. Just after the quake, they rushed to a hospital in Milo, about 70 miles north of Port-au-Prince, to offer their help. We'll hear from the younger Lovejoy shortly, but first here's his father speaking on location at that Haitian hospital.
You got to have a can-do attitude, and I think that's what most people came here. People came here, the type of people who really like to see what they can do.